everyone, Chelsea here. Today I'm going to give you more of a yoga class. So what you will need is a yoga mat, so something that will prevent you from slipping when you're on the floor. You'll need some yoga blocks. If you have these, great. If you don't, you can use pasta boxes as long as they're both at the same height, or 2 of the larger cans. You're also going to need a strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a belt or a scarf. And then a beach towel or like a thicker towel that will help cushion your knees. We have some poses that we'll do on our knees that you might need a little extra cushion. So we'll get started. Have your props off to the side. We'll handle those after. So come to a comfortable seat, whatever feels good for you. It can be cross-legged, legs extended. If you'd like to prop yourself up on a blanket or the towel, feel free to. So whenever you get to that position, move the flesh from your sits bones, feel yourself grounding down. Let your hands rest comfortably in your lap. Roll your shoulders back and down. Make these some slow rolls. And the next time they go back and down, just let them stay there. And close your eyes, beginning to connect with your breath. Feeling your lungs expand with each inhale and deflate with each exhale. And as you're bringing your awareness to your breath, noticing if your breath is more shallow or if it's a slower paced breath, if it's deeper. Trying to head towards that deeper breath, slowing down the breath. Trying to make the inhales just as long as the exhales. And letting one hand rest on your chest, the other rest on your stomach. Taking this time to set an intention for your practice. So whatever you would like to take away from the mat today. And letting your hands rest down to your lap. Flutter your eyes back open. Let your left hand come down by your side. The right arm stretches up. Relax that left shoulder, and on an exhale, start to bend towards the left, giving a bend to the left elbow. Breathing into the right side body, grounding down evenly in both sits bones. So especially that right sits bone, keep it grounding down. And then adding in a neck stretch, let your left ear head down towards the shoulder. Stretch the right arm back towards the right, flip the palm down. And feel a nice stretch all along the right side of the neck. So moving that arm around or maybe tucking the chin. Feel a nice stretch on the right side of the neck. And then keeping your head heavy on an inhale, come back through center. And just use your left hand to bring your head back to center. Hand comes back down to the mat. And just pausing, maybe noticing a difference from side to side. And switching sides, grounding down in the right hand now. Extend that left arm up towards the ceiling, or the sky in my case. Let that right shoulder relax. And on an exhale, begin to bend towards the right. Giving a bend to that right elbow, breathing into the left side body. And then letting your right ear head down towards the shoulder. And slowly extend that left arm back towards the left, flipping the palm down. Moving the arm around until you feel a nice stretch all along the left side of the neck. And then on an inhale, keeping the head heavy, come back through center. And just use your head to move your head back. Use your hand to move your head back through center. Release the hand down. So coming to a tabletop position, but we're first bring the blocks at their highest height, right at the top of your mat. We'll need them later. This may be a good time for you to grab onto your beach towel or blanket, because we're going to be on our knees for a little bit. So coming onto your hands and knees, hands are shoulder width, fingers spread wide. Knees are hips width. You can either tuck the toes or untuck the toes, whatever feels best for you in this position. Starting with some cat-cows will warm up the spine. On an inhale, let the stomach drop, gaze comes forward, tail lifts up for cow pose. Exhale, round the spine, look towards the belly button for cat. Inhale for cow, pulling your chest through the arms. Exhaling for cat. I'm going through 2 more rounds. Inhale for cow pose. And exhale for cat, rounding into the spine. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, rounding into the spine. Inhale, come to a flat back. Grounding down in the right knee to start. Extend that left leg long behind you. And making sure that you keep a nice flat lower back. So a lot of times when we extend a leg up, we try and get the height. Doesn't matter about the height. What matters is you have a nice level lower back. Flex that left foot. Give a bend to the left knee. And start to do some hip circles, moving that knee around. Opening up the hip. These circles can be as large or as small as you'd like. Just warming up the body here. And then reversing the direction of the circles. And then extend the leg long and bring the knee down to the mat. On an inhale, find some length in the torso. Exhale, curl to the left, looking towards the left toes. Inhale, center. And exhale, curl to the right, looking towards the right toes. Inhale, center. Switching sides, grounding down in the left knee now. Extend that right leg behind you. So again, making sure you have a nice flat back. So you don't want that leg too high. Flex the right foot, bend the knee, and start to do some hip circles on this side. Making the circles as large or as small as you'd like. So just going where it feels good for you. And then reversing the direction of your circles. And then extend that leg long and bring the knee back down to the mat. On an inhale, find some length in the torso. And exhale, curl to the right, looking towards the right toes. Inhale, center. And exhale, curl to the left. Inhale, center. Coming into our first chaturanga. So making your way to a modified push-up position. So knees come back, untuck the toes. On an exhale, come all the way down onto your stomach, hugging the elbows by your sides. Walk your hands back so they're right in line with your ribs. Ground down in the pelvis. Roll the shoulders back, and on an inhale, lift your head, neck, and chest. Exhale, bring your head down. Ground down in the hands. You'll push back to a child's pose. So options here. You can have your big toes together, knees separate. Hips head down or back towards your heels. If that is not a good spot for you, feet come back to hips width. Hands walk forward of your shoulders, way forward of your shoulders. And start to let your hips come back. They're not going to touch your toes, but you can start inching your hands forward and let your head come down. So both options give a nice stretch all along your spine. So going to whichever one feels best for you. And as we go throughout practice today, coming back to those poses if you're feeling like you can't catch your breath, or if certain postures don't feel great for you, just come to one of those positions. So wherever you are, pushing back up to a tabletop position, tucking the toes, walk your hands slightly forward of the shoulders, spread your fingers wide, ground down evenly in all 10 fingers. With the toes tucked, on an exhale, lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Have your feet hips width, maybe a little wider if you have tighter hips and tighter hamstrings. Give a slight bend to the knees, and as you bend your knees, let your hips head up towards the ceiling. So you're pushing just as much into your hands as you are into your feet, and you're pushing back with your thighs. So the weight should be evenly distributed. On your next exhale, look forward and make your way to a forward fold. So you can walk forward, you can bring your hands back. You'll grab onto the blocks and have them come right underneath your shoulders, coming into your first forward fold. So feet or hips width, give a slight bend to the knees. Just ease into this first fold of the practice. And on an inhale, come halfway up, bring your hands right above your knees, flat back. Exhale, hinging from the hips, fold on over. And then inhale, come halfway up with a flat back. And exhale, come up to standing. Hands down through prayer at heart center. Arms come down by your sides. Bring the blocks back to the top of the mat if they're not already there. Coming to the top of your mat, your feet are hips width. Inhale, let the arms stretch up. Hold on to your right wrist, find some length, and on an exhale, start to bend towards the left. And as you bend towards the left, ground down evenly in both feet. Inhale, come back through center, stretch the arms up. Grab onto your left wrist, find some length, and on an exhale, start to bend towards the right. Like the other side, grounding down evenly in both feet. Inhale, come back through center, arms stretch up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, fold over the legs, hands come down to the mat. On an inhale, come halfway up with a flat back. Exhale, hands to the mat, give a bend to the knees, and step the right foot back for lunge, bringing the knee down to the mat. This is another good place for the blanket if you need it. You'll walk the blocks back alongside the front foot. Untuck the back toes if they're tucked. If you get any foot cramping, you can always tuck the back toes. Make sure that the left knee is directly over the ankle. Bring your hands, both hands onto the left thigh and push yourself up for low lunge. Sending the pelvis forward so you're not getting an arch in the back. So you have a nice long torso. Arms stretch out towards the sky. Adding in a side bend here. So bring your left hand to your hip. Find some length in the right side body. And on an exhale, start to bend towards the left. If you'd like a little bit more, maybe grab onto your block and bring it alongside your hip and extend your arm down towards the block. Lets you get a little bit deeper into the right side body. And I can start to open up the right hip flexor a bit. And on an inhale, let both arms stretch up. And then release the left hand to the thigh. Right hand will come down to the block. Make sure that the wrist is directly underneath your shoulder. You'll find some length in the torso. And on an exhale, start to twist open towards the left. Staying here, maybe extending the left arm up towards the ceiling, or the sky. And playing here, for me, this height is a little bit too high for me to get deeper into the twist. So I'm going to bring the block down a level, or the pasta box, or whatever you have. And breathing here. Feeling with each inhale, the torso lengthens, and each exhale, twisting into that space you've created. On your next exhale, unwind, grab onto that block. Make sure they're back at the same height if they aren't already. Grounding down in the blocks, bring that left knee back to meet the right. Move the blocks to the top of the mat so your hands can come back onto the mat. Just walk yourself back a bit so you don't hit the blocks on your way down. Coming through chaturanga, so letting yourself come to a modified push-up position. On an exhale, coming all the way down to your stomach, hugging the elbows by your sides. Making sure your wrists are in line with your rib cage, grounding down in the pelvis. Let the shoulders roll back as you inhale, pull up for low cobra. Exhale, release it down. Tuck the toes and push yourself through a table for downward facing dog. And just start to pedal out the feet a bit, creating some movement in your downward facing dog. Then bring your gaze forward and make your way to a forward fold, holding on to your blocks, feet or hips width. Give a bend to the knees. On an inhale, come halfway up with a flat back. Exhale, folds back over. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale to stand. Hands down through prayer at heart center. Switching sides, arms come down by your sides, blocks come back to the top of the mat. Come to stand behind the blocks, feet or hips width. Inhale, arms stretch up. Hold on to your left wrist, find some length. And on an exhale, start to bend towards the right. Inhale, back through center, arms stretch up. Hold on to your right wrist, find some length. And on an exhale, start to bend towards the left. Inhale, back through center, arms stretch up. On an exhale, hinging from the hips, fold over the legs, hands come down to the blocks. Inhale, halfway up with a flat back. Exhale, hands down to the blocks. This time giving a good bend to the knees, step the left foot back for lunge, bringing the knee down. If you need your blanket, you can grab it for this left knee. Bring the blocks in line with the front foot. Untuck the back toes. Bring the hands up onto the thigh and pull yourself up for low lunge. Making sure that that right knee is right above the right ankle. Making sure the pelvis is tilting forward so you have a nice long torso. On an inhale, arms stretch up. And adding on, using the side bend. So bringing the right hand to the hip, left arm lengthens up. And on an exhale, begin to bend towards the right. Breathing into the left side body. And like the other side, if you'd like to add on, you can grab onto the block with the right hand and start to extend the arm and reach for that block. Maybe getting a little bit deeper into your twist. Then inhale, come back through center, arms stretch up. Adding on with a twist, bring your right hand to the thigh, left hand down to the block. Making sure that the left wrist is right underneath the shoulder. Finding length in the torso. And on an exhale, begin to twist open to the right side of the body, to the right thigh. Staying here, maybe extending that right arm up towards the sky. And playing with the height of the block under your left hand. Maybe bringing it down a level to give you a little bit more of a twist. And feeling with each inhale a lengthening in the torso. Each exhale twisting into that space. Then on an exhale, let your hands come down. Grab onto both blocks. Make sure they're at the same height. As you ground down in the block, step that right knee back to meet the left. Blocks come towards the top of the mat. Hands come down to the mat. And scooching yourself back. Scooching is a technical term. Coming into a modified push-up position. On an exhale, coming down through chaturanga. Grounding down in the pelvis. Hands come right alongside the ribs.
Shoulders roll back and down. Inhale, up, low cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes and push back to downward facing dog. Bring your gaze forward and make your way to a standing forward fold. On an inhale, come halfway up with a flat back. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, come up to stand. Hands down through prayer at heart center. Arms come down by your sides. So we're going to come into some balancing poses. So have your blocks on the sides of your mat. We're going to need them after. So if you need to be near a wall, feel free to just move your whole setup there. So coming to the top of the mat, but I urge you to test yourself and not go by a wall. So bringing your feet hips width to start. Hands will come to the hips. And begin to bring your gaze or your drishti onto something steady. And when you're ready, we'll start by grounding down in the left foot. And lifting that right knee up, hip level. And with your hands on your hip, you can really gauge to see if that right hip hikes up when you lift it up. So trying to counter that. So maybe not lifting the thigh up as high. And in the standing leg, keep a slight micro bend in the knee. You never want to lock your knee. So adding on to this balance, bring your right hand to the knee. On an exhale, open the knee out to the side. Maybe extend that left arm out to the side as well. And then inhale, bring it back through center. Adding in a twist. Bring your left hand to the knee, right hand to the lower back. On an inhale, find some length. And exhale, twist towards the lifted knee. Maybe extend the right arm long behind you and the left arm long in front of you. And then slowly unwind, come back through center, hands come to the hips, and you'll step that right foot back for high lunge. So making sure that that front knee is over the ankle. Give a slight bend to the back knee, and as you bend the back knee, you'll feel that same tilt of the pelvis forward. So try and maintain that and straighten the back leg. If as you straighten it, you notice the hips and the pelvis tilt back, just keep a bend in the back knee. It's perfectly fine. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And then exhale, let your hands come down to the blocks. Bring the right knee back and step the left knee back to meet it. Just move the blocks off to the side. Hands come down to the mat. Coming to that modified push-up position. On an exhale, chaturanga, hugging the elbows by your sides. Wrists line up with the ribs. Shoulders roll back and inhale up, low cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes and push back to downward facing dog. Look towards your hands, and on an exhale, make your way to a standing forward fold, grabbing onto those blocks. On an inhale, come halfway up with a flat back. Exhale, folds back over. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale to stand. Hands down through prayer at heart center. Arms come down by your sides. So switching sides, bringing the blocks back to the sides of the mat. Coming to the top of your mat. Hands to the hips, feet or hips width. Bringing your gaze or your drishti onto something steady. We'll ground down in the right foot now. When you're ready, begin to lift that left leg up, hip height, flexing the foot. Engaging if that left hip hiked up a little bit too high, so countering that, letting the hip be in line with that right hip. Bring your left hand to your knee. Open that knee out to the side. Maybe extend the right arm long. And then inhale, bring it back through center, adding in a twist. Bring your right hand to your knee, left hand to the lower back. Inhale, find length, and exhale, twist into that. Twisting towards the lifted knee. Maybe extending the right arm long behind you and extending the right arm long in front of you. And inhale, unwind, come back through center, hands on the hips. Step that left foot back for high lunge. Making sure that the front knee is over the ankle. Like the other side, give a bend to that back knee. And as you bend that back knee, feel your pelvis tilt forward. Try and maintain that tilt as you straighten the back leg. So it's okay if it's not perfectly straight. You want to maintain nice position. Arms stretch up towards the sky. And on an exhale, letting your hands come down to the blocks. Bring the knee down to the mat and step the right knee back to meet the left. Blocks come to the top of the mat. Hands come down to the mat, coming into your modified push-up position. On an exhale, chaturanga, hugging the elbows by your sides. Wrists come right alongside your ribs. Ground down in the pelvis. Inhale up, low cobra. Exhale, pushing through a table for downward facing dog. On your next exhale, make your way to a standing forward fold. Hands come down to the blocks. And on an inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, folds back over. Inhale, halfway. And exhale to stand. Hands down through prayer at heart center. Arms come down by your sides. So bringing your blocks just off to the side. We're gonna walk our feet out wide on the mat. Coming into our warrior poses. So when you hold your arms out, your wrists should be right above your ankles. Kind of a hard thing to gauge, but you'll understand when you do it. So bring your hands to your hips. We'll start by pointing the left toes towards the back of your mat. So you'll have heel to arch alignment. So the left heel intersects with the right arch. Start to bend deeply in to that left knee, making sure that the knee falls right over the ankle. And as you're doing all of that, imagine there's a block right outside of that thigh. Push that thigh away. So what you want to do is make sure that that knee is tracking towards the second and third toe of the front foot. You don't want the knee collapsing in, so you just want to protect the knee. The torso lengthens up, arms come up to a T. Flip the palms up, and as you flip the palms up, feel the shoulders relax back and down. Try and maintain that as you flip the palms down. Bring your gaze over the middle finger of that left hand. And breathe. Bring your right hand to your hip. Flip the left palm up. Find some lengthening towards the left side. And on an exhale, reverse your warrior. And as you're reversing your warrior, maintaining the foundation. So maintaining the bend in that front knee. maintaining opening up that thigh. And breathing into the left side body. And then inhale, bring it back, warrior two. Hands come to the hips, straighten the front legs, parallel the feet. You can do a little sway if you need to. And we'll switch sides. So pointing the right toes now towards the top of the mat. Your right heel intersects with the left arch. Bend deeply into that right knee, making sure the knee falls over the ankle. And imagine that block is there again. Push that block away. So protecting the knee joint, making sure the knee is heading towards the second and third toe of that front foot. Torso lengthens up, arms come out to a T, shoulders relax back and down, and gaze comes over the middle finger of that right hand. And breathing here. And reversing our warrior, bringing your left hand to your hip, flip the right palm up, find some length forward, and then reverse your warrior. And as you're reversing back, keeping the foundation as it was. So keep bending into that front knee, opening up that front thigh. And then inhale, bring it back, warrior two. Hands come to the hips, straighten the leg, parallel the feet. So options here, you can bend the knees and hop your feet together, or just walk your feet together. And come to the top of your mat. Blocks will stay right as they are. You'll bring your strap just to the middle side of your mat. Doesn't matter which side. So coming behind the blocks, feet or hips width. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, fold over the legs. Hands come down to the blocks. Inhale, come halfway up with a flat back. Exhale, hinging forward, hands back to the blocks. Give a good bend to the knees, step the right foot back, bring the knee down. Bring the hands down to the mat and step that left knee back. So flowing through one last chaturanga. So setting up for your modified push-up position. On an exhale, chaturanga. Line your wrists with your rib cage, ground down in your pelvis. Inhale, up, low cobra. And exhale, push back to one last downward facing dog of practice today. So pedaling out the feet. And this time, bringing your gaze forward, just bringing your knees down to the mat, coming into either a child's pose where your big toes touch, knees separate, hips head back towards the heels, or coming into puppy dog where your feet are hips width with your knees, hands walk way forward, start to let your hips lean back as your chest starts to mount forward. So breathing in whichever position feels good for you. Slowing down for just a moment. And then wherever you are, come back up to a tabletop just for a moment. Lean over onto one hip and come down to a seat. So if your blocks are at the top like mine, just move them off to the side. You won't need them anymore. Coming onto our back, so have your strap nearby. Feet come down to the mat, scoot yourself forward. Hug your knees in as you fall down onto the mat. You can do some circles in one direction, and then reverse the direction of your circles. And then letting yourself be still, keeping your knees bent, let your feet come down to the mat. We'll grab onto our strap, or whatever you have that is a strap. Hug the left knee in. Bring the strap around the toe ball mound, big toe ball mound of that foot. Extend the leg up towards the sky. So super important here. A lot of times when we come into a stretch like this, we hike our hands way up the strap. And as we do that, your shoulders come up towards your ears. So countering that, letting your your triceps rest down on the mat. Hands come down on the strap. They don't climb all the way up towards the foot. Okay. So, as you straighten the leg up, breathe. Notice if any tension is brought up with a stretch like this. A lot of times our jaw will start to clench. Shoulders will automatically tense. So recognizing that, trying to bring some ease into that. Know that this isn't forever. You're going to be out of this soon. Taking just a few more breaths here. I know me personally, forward folds and stretches like this bring up a lot of tension. So it's my daily practice of going easy on myself here. Good, then bend into that left knee, remove the strap. Hug that left knee in, and then hug the right knee in to meet it. Start to do some circles in one direction, and then reverse the direction. Keep the right knee hugging in, bring the left foot down to the mat. Grab onto your strap, and bring the strap around the big toe ball mound of the right foot. Extend the leg up towards the sky. And like the other side, letting your triceps rest on the mat. Hands come onto the bottom of the strap. Then, just like the other side, recognizing any tension that there may be, and letting it go. And breathing here. Don't forget to breathe. Bend to that right knee, remove the strap, move it off to the side. Hug the knee in, and then bring the left knee in to meet it. And just do one circle in one direction, and reverse the direction. And then bring your feet down to the mat, keeping the knees bent. Let the feet walk as wide as the mat. Arms, just let them rest on the stomach for now, and then you can play with where you'd like them to be. So windshield wiper the knees in one direction, and then the other direction. And then when they fall over to the left, let them stay there. This is where you can play with the arms. Sometimes it feels good to let the arms come out to a T or cactus. So playing with that, finding what feels best for you. Just enjoying a nice twist. Then the arms can stay as they are. Just let your knees fall over to one side and then the other. And then let them fall over to the right and stay there. And breathing there, breathing into the twist. Inhale, let your knees come back through center. Let them fall over one more time to each side. And then let the knees come back through center. Give them one last hug into your chest. And then coming to Shavasana, coming to a meditation portion. So letting your legs extend long on your mat. Long and wide. So let them be as wide as the mat. Toes point out to the sides. Arms stretch down by your sides, shoulder blades roll down your back so your chest puffs up. Palms face up. If that doesn't feel good, you can bring them down. Closing your eyes. thanking yourself for coming here and practicing. And breathing in a normal breath, at a normal pace. And if the mind begins to wander, labeling each thought a thought, letting it pass right on by, and bringing it back to just this breath. You can stay here for as long as you'd like, just breathing. And when you're ready, rolling over onto one side, bringing your arm up to be a pillow, pausing there, and then slowly making your way back up to a seat. So whatever seat you started in, head right back towards that seat, keeping your eyes closed. On an inhale, let the arms stretch up. Exhale your hands down through prayer at heart center. Namaste. And thank you all so much for joining me. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me, and I will see you soon.